Hall of Famer, CC Sabathia. How's that feel, man?
It's still surreal. It's still crazy to hear. Even just being here and seeing like National Baseball Hall of Fame, it's pretty cool though. It's exciting.
So first, when you got that phone call, what was the first things going through your mind?
Just like a relief. You know, I've been watching the tracker. Like I've been every hour. I was like refreshing the tracker just to check. And like, you know, we sat down, you know, we had a big party. I felt either way, like if I didn't get in or not, you know, I felt like I wanted to celebrate with, you know, people that were close to me. And, you know, that last 15 minutes when you're sitting there and it's like, is my phone working? And, you know, we getting a good signal. It's a little nerve-wracking, but it was a great feeling.
You know what's crazy about baseball or any kind of sport? Really takes a village of folks, right, to get you through it, to get you to have your dream. Have those folks there with you must have been amazing. But were you going through your mind when you finally knew you got the call? How many people played such an important role in your life?
Yeah, I mean, just thinking, you know, coming from Vallejo down to, you know, my high school coach, Abe Hobbs, or, you know, even just thinking about Dusty Baker. I got a chance to meet Dusty when I was 12 years old and the impact that he made.
Wow.
Dave Stewart, you know, 9 years old, meeting him in a Boys and Girls Club. So, so many different interactions and, you know, I don't think by accident, you know, just if I'm looking back, you know, at my life. So it's pretty cool to sit back and reflect and think about all the different people that had an impact and you know, the way they, you know, changed the course of your life.
So Hall of Fame induction day, I did a breakdown on you, swinging the bat, hitting a home run, and a split. After I watched it a few times when I was getting ready, and I went, he finishes like Griffey. He's walking, watching balls.
I mean, growing up in the 90s, being a left-handed hitter, he was the swing that you wanted to emulate. So, yeah, I mean that finish, of course, but I couldn't get my elbow up there. I couldn't get to the fastball with my elbow that high.
Were you able to replicate the Dave Stewart stare? Because that was really important to intimidate the hitters.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just, you know, staring down over the glove and you know, just the intensity that he pitched with. You know, being an ace of those Oakland teams. I mean, I had the Bash Brothers poster up on my wall, and you know, Ricky Henderson. You know, I had the Mizuno gloves. So that was my squad, and having a chance to even go in to the Hall of Fame with Dave Parker. He was the DH on those teams. So
yeah.
excited to meet him and you know, grow a relationship with him.
So speaking of Dave Stewart and aces, the black aces, 15 black pitchers who won 20 games or more, right? And you're one of the black aces. What has that group meant to you?
It's meant, you know, everything to me to be, you know, part of the Black Aces. You know, it's something that Mudcat Grant, you know, stressed to me when I was young in that Cleveland organization.
Can you give me a little Mudcat? What did he say?
He was just, you know, he was always, you know, just adamant about me, you know, remaining the starting pitcher, and understanding what that meant in history to be, you know, a starter as a black man and. You know, to win 20 games was important. It wasn't important to me because, like I said, as a kid, I was a hitter. So I didn't even, when I got drafted, I didn't even know that you had to pitch 5 innings to get a win. Like, you know, so all these things were, you know, new to me. And he's talking about winning 20 games in the big leagues, you know. So, you know, I had to grow into all of these things that he wanted me to be. And I'm just happy that I was able to.
One of the great stories you told is you won 19. He said, you're not there yet.
Not there yet.
I think one of the biggest culture shocks is when you leave your home and go to professional ball, because you have this image that it's this most amazing thing. But going from Vallejo into Cleveland organization, what was that like?
It was tough. Those first 3 nights when I got drafted, they sent me to Burlington, North Carolina. I called my mom every night, and I cried. Like, I was like, do I got to get the money back if I come home?
I get it.
She was like, let's get this check first, then you can come back. But no, it was tough. I mean, you know, I was a spoiled kid. You know, I hadn't learned how to wash clothes. I didn't know how to cook for myself. I didn't know how to eat properly. You know, I didn't know how to use shower shoes. I'm going from high school where my mom's washing my uniform to now, you know, I'm putting my clothes on a laundry loop, you know what I mean? So all these different things about being a professional, I didn't understand.
We're laughing because we know.
No, you know, I mean, even the everydayness of it, like being at the ballpark every day, like you have to be at the ballpark every day at 12:45. Like that's a thing coming from high school. You don't understand that. So, you know, just understanding that when you leave high school, when you know, turn into a professional baseball player, it is a job.
When I look at your body of work, 19 years, the most surreal part is 2007, 08, and 09. I don't know if any player's ever had this kind of 3-year stand. You get the Cy Young with Cleveland Indians, Cleveland Guardians now. And then the next year, you're traded, because you're going to be free agent, to Milwaukee. You put them on your back, did something that no pitcher probably will ever do. Yeah. Pitching on 3 days rest, you win 11 times in 17 games. And then the next season, you're with the Yankees and win the World Series. What was it like for you, and not only you, but your family, moving 3 times and being great each and every place you went?
Yeah, no, that was a crazy time in my life as far as, moving different places, different organizations. But on the mound, that was the most stable I'd ever been. And it was the second half of 2006, really. Carl Willis again. Yeah. We go into the bullpen in Oakland. I'm trying to find a out pitch. I need, because I'm throwing a big loopy curveball at the time. And when I get the 2 strikes, I don't have anything to put a guy away. So we were going to the bullpen to learn a cutter. And I come out of that bullpen session with this 82, 83 mile an hour slider that I'm like, oh, this thing is awesome. So we go from Oakland, we go to Seattle the next start. I take it into the game. Ichiro, I get the 0-2, Ichiro hit it off the window. So I'm like, oh no, that's just Ichi. So I'm getting out with it and getting out with it. His next at bat, he comes up, I throw it to him first pitch, he hits it out again.
Oh my goodness.
But that was, the beginning of, that run where the next year I win the Cy Young, because I have an out pitch now. And then I get to Milwaukee and, go on that great run because, we had so much fun. We had, that clubhouse was so good. And, then I had a chance to come to New York and win a World Series. But yeah, it was chaotic off the field and moving around. And I have to give a lot of credit to my wife, Amber. We had our 3rd child all through in the middle and all that stuff. But on the mound, that was the most stable I'd ever felt.
So let's wrap it up with this. You started off talking about you were following the tracker, which I can't even imagine.
Everybody, if anybody tells you they're not following the tracker, they're lying. I'm telling you right now, everybody's following the tracker.
You and I were close. We didn't follow the tracker.
No, we didn't get there. So I want to finish with this. You started working on the speech yet? You got to be thinking about that at least, right?
I have not started working on the speech, and if anybody knows me, they know that I don't like standing up and talking in front of people. My hand's getting sweaty right now just thinking about it. So it's going to take me a while to, one, I want to get the speech done so I can practice it, because I get super emotional. I cry at everything, so I know I'll cry at the podium, but hopefully I can get through it and make everybody proud.
Man, we're proud of you, man.
So proud.
Thank you.
Awesome. It's been so fun. Congratulations. Well done. Well deserved.
You have as much respect for the history of baseball as any player I've ever known or heard about. You've been to Cooperstown 7 or 8 times already just because you're interested in the history of the game.
もちろんそうですね。
Of course, I wanted to learn about the history, and that's one of the reasons. But really, as I played and as I hit milestones, broke records that some of the old Hall of Famers had accomplished, I felt really a close relationship with them. And so in order to get to know more about them and get to have a more closer relationship, I thought I needed to go to the Hall of Fame, Cooperstown, and be able to learn about them, be able to go in the basement and maybe get to touch some of their equipment. And that's kind of how I became closer to some of those players that I was able to tie or pass some of the records.
George Sisler
Yes.
という選手と、
That's-
ウィリー・キーラーという選手ですね。
That's one of the things I've admired most about you. Sisler's daughter was at the game when you tied or passed him. And then when the All-Star game was in St. Louis in 2009, you visited his gravesite and said that you wanted to honor this grand upperclassman of the game. What a wonderful thing.
そうですね。やっぱそういう気持ち。
Sister's daughter came to Seattle and to watch, and I was so grateful for that. And really, the Cooperstown was Hall of Fame is there, so that I learned about these guys, and so it meant a lot to me to go to the gravesite, because that's where I was able to learn about them through Cooperstown, and so that's why Cooperstown is great for everyone, but especially for me, who I was able to get close to some of those that I was able to learn about.
What does it mean to you, given your respect for the history of the game, that you are the first Japanese player in the American Baseball Hall of Fame?
で嬉しかったのは
It wasn't a goal of mine
僕はここを目
to
指して
be in
き
the
た
Hall
わ
of
けでは
Fame.
ないんですね。
I started my professional career
14
at
歳で代表
18.
選手になってから
It's just a little, every day working on the little things and working hard every single day and just getting better every single day. And I didn't know I was going to go to America to play baseball and for the big leagues. And that became possible because of just the everyday, over and over and over practices and everything that I've done to get to that point. And as I went throughout my career, there was an opportunity that, hey, maybe I could go play in the big leagues. And that's when I had an opportunity in 2000 at the end to be able to go to the big leagues in America. And so that's kind of the steps that I had to take to get to the goals that I've had. In 2001, my career started here, and I didn't know that I could last a year. And people around me didn't know that I could last a year. But, you know, our team did well. We won 116 games. I was able to contribute, and I was able to just take those little steps every single day. And, you know, 2-3 years, I was able to do well. And then the fourth year, get 262 hits, and just took little steps along the way. And look at me now, I'm a Hall of Famer. You know, you look at the Hall of Fame, I don't think it's full of guys that are just so talented than everybody else. Look at me, you know, I think I just took little steps and worked hard to get to the next step, and here I am.
People may not realize that your English is actually very good, but you like to speak in these situations in Japanese to be as precise as you can. But in Cooperstown in July, will you speak a little bit of English in your acceptance speech?
英語で話します。
I will make my speech in English.
例えばこういうインタビュー
You know, when we have these interviews, you know, I'm shaky in my own language, Japanese. You know, I can't speak it. You know, and that's how I've looked at it. You know, obviously I've wanted to learn English. I tried, and it's really hard. You know, if you would have told me, hey, you could put a chip in my head, and I would lose 5 years of my life. You know, back then I would have done it. But now I'm kind of at peace with that, and that I will. You know, of course, I want to learn English. I want to do better. But yes, I will do my speech in English in July.
With Hall of Famer Billy Wagner, it feels like, Billy, with guys like Ron and I, who have been advocates of yours for a long time, we've been saying that anyway. Now that it's official, how do you feel?
You know, overwhelmed. I think when you walk into that room of Hall of Famers and you see the plaques, you know, you question it. You know, should I be here? And when people they give you this jersey and this hat, and you start to, you know, it's still a little surreal, and you know, it's such an honor, and to walk with some of these people that you know are just the greats of the greats.
You know, I spent a lot of time around Ralph Kiner, and he said each year got tougher and tougher. I saw you when you got the announcement. You were very emotional. Where did all that emotion come from?
The 10th year was a big buildup. You know, everybody's expecting that you should get in, but you know, and so you couldn't help but watch the tracker, and the tracker was that was very difficult. I'm glad they have it, but it was very difficult because, you know, you hear somebody say, well, you know, there's going to be, you know, there's going to be a 4% that's going to drop, and you're trying to average that out, and you know, and so you know the mind games that you play, the mental game, and so that phone call, as soon as I got, and it was supposed to come at 5:15, you know, and you know, I'm looking at my phone, it's 5:16, and so you start thinking those things, and so when it hit, it was just that flush of emotion, of excitement, and the endurance of that whole fight to maintain your sanity, and you know, really just the appreciation, the love of the sports, and that you know, you get to move on.
It's been a fight for you since the beginning. I mean, the back of your baseball card almost reads like that of a mythological character, right? You're not 6'5". You had 100 in your pocket from the Ferrum College days on in. other guys get discovered because the scouts were looking at you, Eric Owens, and people like that. But take me to the beginning of the Astros days, and you're the young guy on a staff of veteran dudes, and Darryl Kyle and Shane Reynolds and Donnie Wall. What were those days like for young Billy Wagner?
Well, I remember in Tucson when I was pitching, and Donnie was like the mayor of Tucson. He won like 17, 20 games every year, and he was a pitcher. He knew exactly what was going on, and I was just raw. And so Craig McMurtry was there, Darryl Kyle was there, and they had this experience, and they knew how to pitch. I had no idea what I was doing. My instruction was throw it as hard as you can in that direction, and then throw a curveball. I'm not looking at velocity. I don't even know what that means. Just because I was throwing hard and striking guys out, that wasn't going to be the, but I was going to be a starter. So that was the plan when I went up. So, when the guys got hurt, Hudak and guys got hurt, and they just kind of threw me in. It was kind of the luck of the draw, and so I was able to play off that 1 or 2 pitches.
I was thinking that this is a touchy subject now, and you coach young people. You were very durable. You very rarely got hurt. How did you keep your arm sound when so many others are not able to now?
I think it was just the way we did things. I think, we were built for longevity by doing long toss. And, all the things that they do today with heavy balls and things like that, we were doing with hay bales. And we were doing this with, we ran a different, it was just, we did all these things, but it just wasn't the fancy names.
You're playing down your arsenal, talking about yourself being a one-pitch guy, because we remember in '98 when Randy Johnson got traded over to the Astros, something changed for you, and the unit shared his slider with you, and there's another weapon for Billy Wagner, another rung under the Hall of Fame. What were those conversations like?
Well, really about that big. I walked over to him and I said, "How do you hold your slider?" And he went, "Like this." And that's all he said to me. He likes to say he taught me the slider. He did not. Brad Lidge taught me the slider.
Okay.
He literally, unit, you're getting no credit for this. He literally went like this. That's all he told me. And Lidge was the one, I was in the bullpen and I was struggling. And it was the first game of the year. I was really struggling. And I walked in and I said, "Brad, what is going on?" He goes, "Do this, do that." And I was just, and it was different. Wow. It was so different. And I mean, I was throwing a slider early, like 80, 82, and he showed me one grip and a thought, and I was 88. And it was just crazy. And and Brad has the nastiest slider. Yeah. Him and Rob Nin, probably two of the nastiest sliders I've ever seen. And that was, when that was good, that was really good. That was a big difference.
Everyone needs a Brad Lidge in their life, don't they? Yeah. I was just thinking, one of the most important things is when you see your plaque, and it'll have this history written on it about you. What would you like to see on your plaque?
Endurance. Because I think for a reliever to get there, you think about Lee Smith, you think about guys like Goose, Eck, all these guys. I mean, to get to this point in your career, you got to have endurance, and you go through so much. You're one pitch away from scrutiny, where as a starter you have some luxury to get through some innings, but endurance and just thinking about watching Mo, he made it look so easy, but the endurance it took him every single day to go out there and just be so good every day. And him and Hoffy were just phenomenal.
We loved watching you, man. And I know that you've heard from a lot of friends and family and ex-teammates, but on behalf of all of us that have watched you from the beginning, man, way to go.
Appreciate that.
Happy for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.